You have questions, we have answers. This is Jane Muller.
And this is Ken Muller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. To start with, we hope everybody out there had a great 4th of July, celebrating our nation's 250th birthday.
Yes.
So a big happy birthday to America. And it's fitting that we have as our special guest today, Mayor Antonia Ricigliano. She was the first woman elected mayor of Edison Township back in 2010. Mayor, big welcome to the show, and I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ken and Jane. I had a wonderful 4th of July, and the celebrations are really warranted. This is what the nation is all about. This is what Edison was all about, and I'm delighted to be with you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's good that we have you, because celebrating our 250th birthday, that's a milestone, and certainly your leadership in becoming the first woman elected mayor in Edison is another milestone. So, but we're going to start with talking about your background and what first brought you to Edison Township.
Okay. That really is quite easy. My background is I'm the daughter of an immigrant father. My mother was born in America just by the order of her birth. She was the youngest of 6 children. Grew up in Newark, New Jersey, and had my parents. My father was born in Sicily. My mother, the family is Sicilian, and they read the American and Italian newspapers. They were very well read, although they didn't have formal education. Mm-hmm. And at dinner each evening, certainly on weekends, we talked about what was then called current events. Mm-hmm. And it was local, it was national, and it was international news. So that's kind of where I got my background.
Right.
Mayor, right, in today's society, one thing, right, a lot of family lack of that. I mean, for example, like my own family, right, and my niece and nephew, they would just text each other, and the dinner, if they don't like the food, they just call, Uber Eat, and eat whenever they want. For Ken and I, we're very old-fashioned. Okay, we will
meaning
eat
that
together.
The family would always gather together to eat.
We talk about what happening in each other's life,
yes.
what happening internationally, locally. We discuss issues. We may not always agree with each other. We debate.
Right. But I think that's what's lacking, also due to all the social media distractions out there. Kids are, all different adults are disengaged with what's going on with their environment. They're just so concerned with looking at that phone, whether they be out in the shopping or working out at the gym or like you said, at home, the home life. So it's not a community sense. Everybody does their own thing independently.
Where I'm very fortunate, my husband and I have 9 children.
Right.
And actually there are 5 of them who still live in the neighborhood. They bought homes in the neighborhood. So at one point, the grandchildren are starting to, go on their way with colleges and everything. But we have 11 grandchildren growing up in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And now, they're more like siblings than they are cousins.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And we definitely still have family dinners, and we definitely speak politics. So far, we're on the same page, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yes,
your today is my dream tomorrow. When I hit 50 and people said, "What's your bucket list?" I said, "I only have one item on the bucket list, but it's too early. I want to be a grandma." But my daughter is too young.
That's a blessing. Every one of them, those 11 are all blessings.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And to have them living in close.
There's 17.
It's 17,
Wow.
There's 17,
but 11.
But those are in the neighborhood.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So you have a lot of special birthdays and special events to keep track of, right?
Absolutely.
A birthday to remember.
Yeah. There's always something going on the calendar.
That's good.
Yeah. And you need a quite large dining table, right? Or maybe multiple. It expands.
It's a 14-foot dining table.
Oh, wow.
And then we have the extra tables in the living room and in the kitchen.
That's right.
Yes.
You need the extras. Yeah. That's great. So how did you first decide to get involved in public service? I mean, with being a mom and raising 9 children, I mean that's a commitment. I know just raising one child, it takes a village. So raising
does.
9 would take the whole country.
Well, quite frankly, Dr. Tom Paterniti knocked on my door one day. I had never met him. This was in the mid-'70s. Maybe it was a little toward the early 70s. And he told me that the committee woman that we had in our district could no longer fulfill that role, and she suggested coming to me. And I did it, and I'm still a committee woman in our district. Yes. And so it all of the responsibility is Dr. Tom Paterniti's.
Right.
Yeah. So
and Edison's quite a large district with about like 100,000 population. So you must have a lot of committees, because I know where we live in East Brunswick, there's a multitude. But that's not
40
that's maybe
Right.
half the size of that.
we have 78. We have 78
Yeah.
districts. Yes.
Interesting. Wow.
Yes.
It's a lot of And there's like 2 committee people for every
For each
district.
Yes.
District.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, actually, if 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. We just have our elections on different years. But yes.
Okay.
So actually, there would be 4 representatives in each district.
Right.
How did you become a committee woman or man? Did somebody nominate you in the party, or they have election, or how that work?
Well-
I just know general election, but not sure about the committee.
Well, in this case, Dr. Paterniti asked me if I would fulfill that role. But you can just go to your municipal clerk and fill out an application when it's time for the elections and submit your name so that you're on the primary ballot. We only run on the primary ballot.
Okay, and it's an election with anybody who's a registered
Either
Democrat
or Republican.
They can vote for the committee
That's right.
person that they will choose. Yeah.
That's right, yes.
Okay.
And it used to be back then you had to run for a committee seat annually. Now it's a 4-year term.
Okay.
That's something that's
Okay.
new.
And
Is
what
that
are
for Edison or for
I think it's statewide.
statewide? Okay. Learn something new.
and what are
Thank
some of the
you.
roles and responsibilities of the committee men and women? What do they actually do? Do they have regular meetings, or is there any structured
Yes,
agendas for them?
yes, we do. And our function is to, first of all, be accessible to your neighbors because it's in your district. We usually have about 750 that we represent. When it gets beyond that, they break up the district. That's why we're now 78 districts.
Okay.
So if anything needs to be done, I saw a pothole on Wood Avenue, and I thought, gee, did I really see a pothole? It wasn't. It was a street was sinking in. I went back to check it, and I immediately called the township, and they came out. And this was just this past year.
Oh.
It must have been a result of the extreme cold that we had.
Sure, from this rough winter.
Yes,
And extreme.
and it was a sinkhole.
Oh,
And
which
that
is dangerous.
Yes,
to
so
the-
they immediately came, they blocked it off, and within the next day or so, they started with Middlesex Water to make sure there was no leak, and they took care of it. But so basically, and then if your neighbors call you, and they could call you about noise, they could call you about garbage not being picked up, whatever it is, and then instead of everyone individually going to the municipality, to the mayor's office, or, then they go through the committee person, and the committee person tries to resolve the problem. We also do a lot of politicking. When our slate of officers are there, then we knock on doors, or we make phone calls, or put signs on people's lawns. It's that kind of. It's very personal.
Wow.
being a committee
That's
woman.
great that you're still actively engaged as a committee woman,
helping
right?
out.
And helping
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
even though you went, so you really
Especially
love the
on-
township because you've been given so much
I
and so many
absolutely
different
do.
roles. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then thereafter, being a committee woman, you also served as as a councilwoman.
Yes.
For I think was it 2 terms?
I
before?
did 2 terms. Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about that experience
Okay.
and some of the challenges you faced.
Right. Well, the thing is that now you're used to working in your small district, and when I started knocking on doors, I could not believe how big Edison was. You know,
Oh, yeah.
it really, it's a massive, you know, we're 32 square miles. And, you know, now I think we have about 115,000. And back, like when we came into the township in 61, when we brought, there were 28,000 residents in Edison.
So
It's grown. It's grown. And we have a very diverse community.
Yes.
And being a council person, obviously now you're working with 6 others on the council.
Sure.
And you work with the administration. Sometimes you work against the administration.
Sure.
It's an adversarial kind of thing, you know, because people are asking you to do one thing and maybe, you know, but it's a good balance. And I found, particularly in the beginning, you know, people would ask me questions about myself. There would be a lot of conversation, people getting to know you and wanting to know what your positions were. And of course, everyone says, well, we're going to lower taxes.
Sure.
The only thing I could assure them is that I knew how to budget. My husband was a factory worker. We had 9 children.
Wow.
All 9 of them went through finished college and went beyond.
Wow.
So I did know, you know, there are things that you absolutely need and you're going to get no matter what. And what you can wait for, you're going to wait as, you know, the way your family does, the community does. And some things, well, they're nice to have, but if there's extra money, you could get it. Otherwise, you know.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about that in the next week's show when you come back, when we talk about your role as mayor and as the first act you did when you were elected mayor, which I'll save for that later show. But that was very admirable and noteworthy. We're talking about sacrifice, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So as a councilwoman, what was your period of service? Because I know you were elected mayor in 2010. You were sworn in, rather. And
I was sworn in, yes.
You were the councilwoman for the 8 years prior? Or
No. I was council. I was on the council from 98 to 2001. And then I was on from 2006 to 2009. Okay. 4-year term, so it's January 1st to December 31st. So those were, it was interrupted. It was 2 non-consecutive
terms. Okay.
Yes.
Right. And does anything, do you remember what your first major issue was that was maybe controversial, that you had to take a stand on? Anything? Yeah.
It might. I'm trying to think. There's always controversy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to think. I know one of the things that, and it's not necessarily controversial. I mean, things needed to be done, but we really endured a lot during. I think it was during my term in office. It was, and this is council. We had Hurricane Floyd. Well, there are issues that need to be addressed. Yeah. There was flooding. There were downed trees. You know, people needed. There was property damage. Mm-hmm. We didn't have, as I recall, there was no loss of life.
Thank God. Yeah.
So we were fortunate in that. But you know, there are all things that need to be done. So sometimes, you know, your DPW workers are working overtime. And money has to be allocated to give that overtime pay, which is so deserved. You know, because they are really at the quick and ready, the same as your police and fire, your EMTs. So I honestly don't recall any huge differences that occurred.
Yeah, but just dealing with the challenges of
yes,
any township facing, you know, natural disasters or. That's something that, those are challenging enough without adding anything else to it. Yeah. All right.
One of the things that, can I tell you about?
We're going to go to break. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages. Just stay with us. Okay, welcome back to our show. We're joined this morning by Mayor Antonia Ricigliano. She was the first woman elected mayor of Edison Township in 2010. So we're still building up to that point.
Right.
So let's see. You were the councilwoman for 2 terms,
Yes.
as you explained prior to the break. So let's talk about, did you...
Before you do that, the mayor was going to say something.
Oh, yes.
There was a break.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I'm sorry. What were we talking about right before that? Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah. Well, just one of the things I wanted to mention that we shouldn't forget is that in, I think it was 1999, we put forth the plan to save land in Edison, and we did the open space plan, where it was, I think it was a penny on each $100 of assessed value of your homes that was put aside, and by the time that period was done, actually it was Councilman Peter Barnes who suggested, don't wait for the 10-year period. By that time, you're not going to have any, there's not going to be any trees left.
Yes.
So we borrowed against the anticipated revenue, and we were able to save 900 acres of open space for the township.
That's
Oh,
wonderful.
great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yes.
That's, well noted.
Yeah, as you said, you wait for 10 years. There's really, first of all, there's may not be much left. Secondly, the price will be tripled.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So what else? Then you took a break. You were council for like you said, the first term ended in 2001. Then you had the break, and then you went back to council to serve in 2006.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when in 2006, when you came back, did you view things differently or have a different view from having served as 4 years on the council?
Well, first of all, there were different council people on, so I wasn't serving with the same people. I was serving with the first term. And basically, the issues are going to pretty much remain the same. You're going to try to save money for the taxpayers. That's their prime concern. And did we always vote in agreement with each other? No, but for the most part, yes. Because again, municipality has to be taken care of.
Right. But it's quite challenging with every town with the taxes because a majority of the money, whether it be 65% or 67%, goes towards the education system, the school. So that's really the biggest chunk. So what the municipality is spending, they could be very cost conscious in their spending, but it's not going to have a dent or a very big impact at all on the overall taxpayers' effect.
You're absolutely right. And that you try to impress upon the voters that once we went to the elected school board, it was no longer the responsibility or the I guess, responsibility of the municipality. All they do is collect those taxes and then send the money to the school. Before we went to the elected school board, we had an appointed school board. They were fantastic. But the people wanted their right. They and the thing was, let's take the politics out of the school board. That's, in my opinion, that's when the politics went into it. But we had mayors who appointed good people and did not interfere.
Yeah, I can see that. Just like with the planning board or the zoning board, typically those are appointed by the administration, right? If I'm
yes, right. The planning board is by the. Let's see. One of them is by the administration. The other is by the council.
By the council, yeah.
Yes. So but and I did serve on the planning board, so that was when I was on council, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that's another very important role, deciding what gets approved for development and the compliance and things. Yeah.
Yeah. Back a few years ago, I had fortunate to serve on the zoning board.
Oh, okay.
For a few years, so learn a lot. That
do.
was really good, because when you sit there, you just suddenly, have to go back to policy. It's no longer like your gut feeling. You have to go by the rules, by the law. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's
Absolutely.
And if you want to talk about controversy, there's always going to be controverscy on that because you have neighbors that have certain opinions about something that's proposed, and whether it's, involving so they're going to voice their concerns.
The fencing,
the
neighbor want a balcony on the second floor.
Right.
Or
That's the one
wireless cell tower wants to be
I had a problem
constructed.
with
that
that
was
too.
a famous issue you had in.
Jane
was on the zoning board. So you have business concerns, residential concerns,
and
quality of
parking.
life, parking,
big
drainage,
time,
and disturbance,
Yeah.
and the neighborhood effect on it, and not in my backyard. So you're dealing with all
yes.
those, the NIMBY principle, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So great. So let's lead up to the big point. What led you finally to decide to run for mayor? Because you had an incumbent in there who was the first Asian person elected mayor of Edison, and so you think about that, and then
Yes, I did, and I must say that I never went into public life thinking in terms of being mayor or even council. That was, again, I was asked numerous times over the years to run for council, and until my family was settled, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? So they were young, they were college, and I started college when I was already a grandmother.
Wow.
So I graduated from college on my 53rd birthday.
Wow.
Oh, congratulations! Wow,
Yeah, and now I'm 88.
You're 88. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's, wow. That's awesome. Yeah.
So as far as running for the mayoralty, a lot of people had asked me. There was a lot of dissension in the township locally. I don't know if people really outside of the municipality, except those who were in the political arena, realized that there was dissension. And I have been asked by a number of groups if I would consider putting my hat in the ring. And I did. And we had actually right at this table, had our debate.
You were telling us that before the show. Yeah,
yes.
That's pretty cool.
And then there was the primary election, and I won the primary election.
And then you went on to win the general election.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is, it's usually pretty challenging to beat an incumbent, right? So, but that's so big kudos to you for doing that. That's
it is.
Yeah.
Well, we understand how hard it is because 10 years ago, I ran for the council.
Right.
I lost. That was kind of the experience I always treasure, even regardless win and lose, right? Because as
Absolutely.
you said, the reason we want to get into the election is want to serve our people, serve the community.
Yes.
So regardless win and lose, now reflect back, I will never trade that experience with anything else. That was really was heartbroken, right?
Yeah.
When you ran and you so much
the
hard
journey
work.
is
The
a lot
journey
of the fun.
is like
Whether graduating college, you look back, it's always a journey. That's the most enjoyable part of it. Even
Absolutely.
when Jane ran and when our daughter ran for an office.
Our daughter was only 18.
She ran last year for the school board.
Oh.
Yeah,
she did very well, but she didn't lost to the incumbents. But there was a lot of people on the slate. But it was a great experience for her. And
she learned a lot because before the funny thing was the reason she wanted to run, she wanted to help the school.
Right.
She wanted to save the music program.
And
when she started to get into it to run, she realized she can't get involved. That's a superintendent decision.
Right.
So she learned a lot from that, meeting a lot of people, talk to the neighbors, understand the issues. Last as Ken said,
going to the
journey.
debates and participating in the debates and with her fellow colleagues, that was all a great experience.
Yeah.
I think she was the youngest, and the oldest was like in their mid 60s. So it's never too young or too old. You can always get involved in community service, right?
Absolutely.
One
and you're
thing,
still involved at your age, so you're not.
One thing
not,
about you, right? You set up such like I said before, right? Like you're the soul, you're the light for a lot of young people, especially women, to look up to follow your footstep. And, a lot of time women...
And for your generation, on top of it, I mean,
Yeah.
that was a great feat. You really smashed that glass ceiling, well
know.
back before.
I haven't heard glass ceiling word
Right.
for a long
But
time.
that was 20, 30
When I
years
was in
ago,
school,
you
always
heard
heard
you used to
glass
hear the
ceiling.
right.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Now I haven't heard that word for a long time. But truly, right, we need women. We need our representation.
We do. You need a woman's perspective in any organization, be it governmental, be it private, be it nonprofit. We all come from different backgrounds.
Yes.
We all have different experiences, but when we put them together, we can really come out with something good.
Yeah. And now let's go back to that day of January 1st, 2010, when you were sworn in by your son.
I was.
Who's a lawyer, I guess, in
Yes.
town, according to he was at that time, right?
He still is.
Still is.
Yes.
Wonderful, yeah.
Yes.
So I bet you remember that day just like you remember your wedding. It's one of those special days that will always be with
Absolutely.
you for the rest of your life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we had, I think they took a picture. There were 32 of us in the family that came up on the
Yeah.
stage.
And the former
for a
governor,
picture.
right, and former Governor Florio was there, among other, there was a lot of
Yes.
notables there,
And
right?
Corzine. Governor
Corzine was there too.
Yes,
Nice,
yes.
And Patrick Deegan, of course.
Yes.
The state yeah. So it was something, yeah. So what did it mean? Do you have anything, what it meant to you at that point, having 32 of your family there and all these, and thinking, boy, you accomplished this, and
It was truly, it was almost surreal. Like, was it really happening? And I thought of it, but it didn't really, when I was coming here and I really thought about it again, I was just sorry my parents couldn't be there.
That was
That they, had already passed.
Yeah.
Because I was raised by very liberal parents. Although my father was born 1903, my mother 1915, and immigrants, but very, very liberal. First of all, a girl can do anything a boy can do. You took care of your neighbors. You don't wait to be asked.
Yeah.
You offered help. Can I give you a very small? We lived in Newark, third floor walk-up apartment, and we lived on the third floor, obviously. And one night we were ready to sit down to dinner, and there was a knock on the door, and it was a man who needed something to eat. And my father asked my mother to put a plate together, brought a chair outside onto the porch, and gave him what we were eating. And a couple of other times the man came. And the generosity, we didn't have much. My father was a construction worker. If you didn't work, you didn't get paid.
Sure.
And the last time the man came, he came to thank them and tell them he had secured a job.
Wow.
And
That's
so I remember so distinctly, I remember my mother putting a plate of food together and my father bringing it. They didn't invite him to the table. They didn't know him. He was a stranger. But he also was never turned away. And to me, that was a life lesson.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's an
it is.
That was
act
a
of
life
great
lesson.
kindness. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and that's a great way to conclude this show. We're just about out of time, but we want to thank you very much, Mayor, for being our guest. And guys, stay tuned for next Sunday. We're going to have the Mayor Ricigliano return for part 2 of our interview and talk more about your roles and responsibilities and challenges and accomplishments and serving as Mayor of Edison. Thank you again, Mayor, and happy 4th of July to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you next week.